Welcome to Season 4 of the Knack for Business podcast.
So, hi everyone. It's great to chat with you today. As I said, I'm Marcus. So, Minds on Fire. We wire together and optimize tech stacks as well as build custom platforms depending on what companies need. Try to help the fatigue of an overexpanded set of SaaS subscriptions that you're finding yourself buried under. So, most business owners do not have a tech problem. I know that we talk about this all the time. They have a clarity problem. Now, the solution of this typically today is when you find yourself lost, when you find that things are a little messy, what do? You Google and then you buy another tool. You buy more and more and more tools. You find yourself with a dozen different SaaS payments coming out of your bank account every month, and you find yourself with too many tabs that you are jumping between, that you're still exporting, copy, pasting, trying to map your information from one platform to another. That is where we come in. So we try to meet companies where they are. We open with, what are you using now? What is the most useful? We start diving into the tech stack that someone is using, see what is useful, what has produced revenue or not. Well, once we figured that out, once we address companies where they are in terms of their technology issues, the biggest thing that we have to back up and look at is, do you have a clarity problem? And we typically find that when clarity is not there, when your offerings are not clear, when ownership within your teams is not entirely clear, that is when we start buying to try to dig us out of this hole that we have dug ourselves into. So, with a clarity problem, there are three levels that we like to look at: clarity to offer, clarity of journey, and clarity of ownership. Now, with clarity of offer, this is, who do you help? What do you do? What outcome do you produce? And most importantly, how do you deliver it? I find today, especially when we go through our marketing, when I speak to different clients, the problem is not so much what do you do? They know you've already identified each other. They've identified that you have a solution for something in particular. But what is it going to look like? Like, if I pay your deposit, does this mean that for the next 3 to 6 months, we try to hack this together where I send you email after email, call after call, trying to sort out what you do? Or do you have a very clear way of delivering that? So, in that first stage, clarity of offer, this is what you want to look at before you get into your tech stack, before you get into automations. You really want to make sure that what you're doing actually fits the market. Is there a product market fit? Is there a new solution that has come onto the market? Is there another company that is promising what you do, but doing a little bit more? That's a big piece that you want to look at before you get into all the technologies that you sort of overlay on top of your business. Clarity of journey, this is a big one. This is a fusion of both, how is your service offered, as well as what kind of tech stack do you need. You were looking at, how do you get first contact? How do they get to a booked call? How do you close them? How do you onboard them? How do you deliver what you're going to do for them? And then most importantly, how do you repeat it? How do you get a referral from that customer? How do you package it and give it to them in such a way that is not only clear for them to see the outcome for themselves, but also clear that if they were to tell another company about them, what are they going to tell them? Is there a 5-step method that they could forward to that new client? Or is it them trying to roughly explain what you did for them, how it would look, and then potentially getting lost where you can lose that referral? When we look at clarity of ownership, this is a huge piece. This is all internal. Who owns each step and what must be automated versus manual. You don't necessarily want all of your salespeople and your CSRs, as well as your leadership, all digging through the same dashboards, all digging through the same data, losing time trying to think to themselves, what is it that I need to do next? Has this been contacted before? What stage is this project at? These are questions that we need to ask ourselves when we're evaluating our tech stacks to figure out, do we have the right data in front of us? Do we have the right CRM, the right dashboards, the right automations? Are they operating in a way that will actually make your business run smoothly? Or are you trying to figure out how to run your business and then separately trying to figure out how to operate your tech stack and how to automate and run it. When it comes to trying to evaluate stack symptoms, these are things that I hope will resonate with everybody. Are you noticing that leads contacted, are they being contacted late? Are they being contacted multiple times? Are you following up at the same consistency, at the same cadence? Do you know that everyone has been followed up with? Do you know that you have records of everything, that you have clear reporting that you can draw out of this? Are you noticing that your pipeline is not trusted? Most of us have a CRM with 3 to 10 stages where we think that we're going to move clients from one to the other and one to the other, one to the other. But do you find that after someone has gone into that pipeline, could you confidently say right now to every single card, square, every single link that is on your pipeline, can you say with complete certainty that every single person on that pipeline is where they need to be? And then how do you make sure that you are moving people to the proper stages? Like as you're talking to them, as you're moving those conversations down the line, and do those pipelines come with clear, actionable next steps for your team members, whether it be leadership, sales, customer service, or your actual service providers? Are your handoffs messy? This is something that we run into all the time. Okay, fine. Your pipeline is working well. You see that there's a name and an email, but then once you go into saying, okay, salesperson, you need to go and pick up this conversation. Well, where is the data? Where are the transcripts stored of the conversations that you've had? Where are the quotes or invoices or client materials that have been sent to you? Where are these pieces of information being stored? Are there any automations? Are you ensuring that the right person is getting the right data sent to them at the right time? And then the clear one, do you have too many tools, too many logins, no single source of truth? You need to think this through because if you can say yes to any of that, there needs to be a change made. These are the types of questions, the type of conversations that we have with every client because we typically find if we are really honest with ourselves, there are several pieces of technology that you bought simply because, and no fault to you, but it looked cool, it had AI attached with it. They showed you some dashboard that looked slightly more interesting than what you're looking at right now. They promised some automated feature, but was that something that seemed interesting or effective at the time when you were speaking to that team? Or is this something that has actually become part of every single day that you're using, that you're operating your business, that you're using your tools? These are all questions that we want to make sure that every company is asking themselves so that we are not just pouring money into all these applications all the time. One example, there's a plumbing company that we are working with now to build their system. They are currently on Jobber, which they thought would be the be all end all best platform they've ever seen. And then everything still falls into a massively scattered calendar. They told me, oh, it's color coded. But when you open up 150 different blocks of different colors, that will overwhelm even the best teams. How do you make this push forward? How do you silo? This company also talked to us about how they are growing very quickly. They're splitting into not only plumbing, but plumbing, HVAC, electrical, as well as general contracting work. We needed to look at the systems that they already had in place and figure out how do we coordinate everything in one place, but also keep it siloed enough so that they can operate their business separately when it comes to finances, when it comes to operations, when it comes to everything that they're doing on a day-to-day basis. Now, this situation ended up being a bit of a mix of what we do. We found that about 75% of what they wanted to do could be done with GoHighLevel. And I know that Percy and Bernie can tell you all a lot about this. It's an amazing platform that is easy to expand, very customizable, lets you do a lot of different things. Now, we were able to put them together, and now we're planning this. We'll be implementing next week. We'll be building them not only their own dashboards, not only the pipelines, which I've just bashed in a few ways for how they can get a little out of control, But we're also building a lot of automations as well as middleware. So what we're doing with them is building their dashboards on GoHighLevel, building their customer communication, integrating in their invoicing, integrating in their QuickBooks so they can see what payments have been made, which have not. But then also building for them custom dashboards that they can expand in their own platform. Now they will have a TRH solutions platform that will give them individual dashboards for each one of their commercial clients and a dedicated communications module, dedicated quoting, dedicated invoicing, dedicated service calls so that we can fix this problem of them being lost between all the different pieces of technology that they're using. Now they will have a platform where one login, one tab on their browser that they come into every morning. It will have insights into what projects have been finished. It will have communication in each card specifically from this large client requested a service offering as well as a quote, as well as a new build, rather than them hunting through their email campaign or their email threads with those clients. Now they will know that whatever they're looking at is current, timed, stamped, and easy for them to send to whatever next manager they need, whatever operations person, whatever final crew that they're looking to take on. Now, the expense of this is costing them. I mean, they told us a story about missing a $1,000 service call that needed to be urgent because of a boiler failure in a large building in Kitchener. Now, this was one of 100 emails that the owner of the company was being sent in any given day with everything that's going on across their divisions. They missed that one email because of getting bombarded by calls, because of having no automation that can read that it is urgent, keep it at the top of their inbox, flag it for them, and constantly remind them. So really think about if you have a mash of technologies that are not wired together, that are not wired for specifically how you need your business to run, how much is it costing you? You know, what are you missing? What conversation could you be having right now if you had better visibility over everything going on with your company? Now, what your tech stack should be able to do. These are its core three jobs, and everything beyond this is the bells and whistles that you may not need. The first piece is you need it to capture and organize. So that's every leading customer in one place, consistent data fields, simple tagging. And this is not simply dumping it all into one place. We all have multiple areas where we get business. Maybe we have marketing, maybe we have referrals, maybe someone is texting you on your personal cell that you need to call this particular person. We now have enough technology that we can automate all of those leads, those contacts, those conversations coming into one place. That is your number one. You need to be able to capture everything so that it is at least under your control to manage rather than trying to find it, hope that it has not been lost, hope it is not somewhere else. The second job of your tech stack is to move people forward. Now, this comes in with automations, confirmations, reminders, follow ups, setting internal tasks automatically. And this is both internal and external. You need your entire team plugged into this tech stack so that they know what confirmations they have for their meetings, what reminders they have for follow ups they need to make, what internal tasks they have. But you can also do this externally. You know, we all need more information from our clients. We all need them to fill out onboarding forms. We all need them to give us certain information so that we can build quotes. It is now easy enough to automate your tech stacks, and this can come with a little bit of fear, but don't be scared to give your clients homework, to give your prospects next steps that they need to take so that they can work better with you. These are the kind of automations that you want to be looking for, whether your tech stack can already do them, or you need to be looking for someone. If it isn't a company like mine, even finding an hourly person or finding someone that can put these automations in place for you. You'd be very surprised to see how much further you can go beyond your CRMs, your dashboards, your email campaign systems, where you can actually keep in touch with all of your clients, give them information to fill out, make sure you're keeping tabs on them. So, big things to think about for this. Think about how you interact with your clients, think about how you interact with your prospects, and really think about what are your non negotiable automations. You want to think about what you are already doing for every single client that comes in, what sort of conversations you're having, what information you find you are always gathering from them. These are things that you want to look towards being able to automate. And this can greatly increase revenue. It will stop you from forgetting about clients. It will make sure that your quoting gets much faster. It will make sure that you release invoices more quickly. And there are a lot of emotional pieces to business. Sometimes when you have a client that may be paying you $20,000, you can hesitate hitting send on that invoice or hitting send on the quote. Will I win it? Will I get beaten by somebody else? Will there be someone else quoting at the same time? But we've all heard the term speed to lead, and we really need to take that and own it. You would be surprised how often you can make a client just by getting the information to them in a timely manner. It can take a day, it can take 2 days, even hours for someone to forget about how excited they are about you, how knowledgeable they think you are, how badly they want to do business with you. Automations, when you get a solid process down that you know have won before, automating that process to go to clients, it can take away stress, it can take away doubt, it can increase your revenue by getting you more and more clients. The third major job of your tech stack would be to show the truth. And this is what you want in one scorecard. We all know about pipelines. We all know about you triggering that I've contacted this person or I've followed up with this person. But you want a platform that is automated, pulling in pure, truthful data from everywhere in your organization. Pulling in, has someone been contacted from your email? Pulling in your text message chats? Pulling in, has this invoice been paid? Has this quote gone out? You want all of this information in one place so that you can guarantee that whoever is looking at this, whether it's the owner, operations, salespeople, customer service, your field staff, whatever it is, that that data is clean and honest, that we are not looking at whatever that salesperson who may be trying to pad their numbers or maybe hide a bad conversation, or a customer service rep who maybe got into an argument with someone and just feels bad about it and doesn't want to display that information to you. Automatically bringing in this data and having it in one place for everyone to see, tagged to the right team member, can do wonders for a business. Now, I'm going to what I'm calling the tech stack detox method. This is a way to take a step back from all the platforms that you're using right now and to try to put them into an effective place so that you know that everything is running smoothly. The first piece is to map your revenue path. So we're not talking about technology yet. We're thinking on revenue. Really map out when you have your core, your best client, your ICP, or avatar, whatever you call it, when they come to you, what does that process look like? Like if you had to draw it on a napkin, that one repetitive process that you put people through, write that down so that you know what the absolute essentials are for what you need. Second is circle the leaks. Think about where you are most likely to lose people. Is it off of the first email where you send your offer? Is it when you send a booking link? Is it when you ask for a follow up? Figure out what these points are, go through the data as best as you can, find your show rates, your no show rates, your proposal open, your email open rates. Try to figure out where in your processes people are dropping off, and don't feel bad about it. Just accept it as this crazy world that we live in, and think and use whatever tools you can, communicate with your team, figure out what the best path to revenue is and where those leaks are. The next piece is standardizing the next step. When you go into a brainstorming session on these kind of things, you will have 10, 20, 30 ideas on what you can do next, what you should do every time, what the next step should be for certain clients. You want to have these brainstorming sessions, but then you want to standardize it. You can use AI for this. You can prompt it to talk about what your business does, look at what your past clients are, what those journeys have been. And you want to try to drill this down into the most repeatable steps and stages that you possibly can, because that repetition will let you speed up your business, gain more clients, get more quotes, answer more quickly. Everything will speed up and make you more efficient, drive revenue, make you more profitable across the board. Once you've found these repeatable steps and you've found what absolutely must be done every single time, this is when we start coming back to the automation conversation. We look at what needs to be done, but then we start to ask what has to be done by a person. We know what can be done by technology in a way that can still feed into your CRM, your scorecards, your dashboards, wherever you have all your information stored in one place. Then you bring it all back to your scorecard. You have a truthful, clean set of data that the right people are given access to, that everyone has a standardized process to go through once they see information come in. And this will start to run your business in a much more repeatable, predictable way so you can grow revenue. So clarity first, tools second, automation third. That is the number one thing that I can say for all of this. We all know AI, we all see platforms all the time. Technology has been around for a long time. But if we do not have clarity first, then we will lose ourselves in tools. We'll keep trying to bolt something else onto our tech stack every day, every week, every month. And then all you find yourself with is a draining bank account, confusion, and clients that are not being supported, not being closed, not being taken care of in whatever you've said you will do for them. So this is what I will leave you all with. If you had to delete half of your tools tomorrow, what would you keep? What would you drop? And what would you rebuild as a system? This is the clarity that you want before you dive into tech stacks and all your tools and start paying SaaS out to everybody all the time. That is what I would leave you with. Thank you, everybody.
To reach the podcast hosts, email them at info@creativeinsight.com or by the website creativeinsight.com, spelled KREATIVISIGHT.com. To reach Wayne at his email, wayne@motive8u.ca, that is MOTIVE, the numeral 8 and the letter U.ca, or his website, motive8u.ca. If you would like to be a guest on this podcast and share your knowledge, let us know. We would also appreciate your feedback on the content or format. Check the show notes for more details. For these podcasts, we like to acknowledge the support and thanks to the following people. Carl Richards from Podcast Solutions Made Simple, a renowned podcast expert. Fred Crouch, who is the Property Wizard podcaster, where Bernie is a co-host. Jovan Strika from At Hive, a co-working space that is more than just a space. Then Melanie Weber, Bernie's invaluable business partner, and Wayne Pratt from Motive8U Inc., who serves as both a coach and co-host of these podcasts. Disclaimer. Please note that the Knack for Business podcast episodes are meant solely for educational and general informational purposes. The information and opinions contained within are not intended to be professional advice on any subject matter. The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by the participants are their own personal beliefs and do not represent the views of the podcast hosts or any affiliated organizations. It is important to note that this podcast is not a replacement for consulting with certified experts in your area who possess knowledge of your unique situation. The hosts of the podcast, along with any participants or affiliated groups, do not take responsibility for any actions taken or not taken based on the information presented in this episode. It is highly recommended that individuals seek guidance from their own personal advisors in fields such as accounting, law, or other pertinent areas prior to undertaking any actions or making decisions that may impact their financial, legal, or other aspects of life.